What's up, college baseball fans? We have our first live video podcast going right now. We were with the hitting coach for Arizona State, home of the Bash Brothers. We've talked about him since day one. Michael Earley, he's in the house with us. James is right there as well. This is a big time moment for us. We just got the Ron Polk interview last week, so this is just another big step in the right direction for us. We're going to touch on a lot of cool things, but I guess the ultimate goal here is just to get the story of what's going down in Arizona State. They're off to a 19-0 start, and they're not looking to slow down anytime soon. So thanks for joining us, Coach. We're happy to have you. Hopefully we can make this a recurring thing, throughout the rest of the year. We're big fans of you guys over there.
Yeah.
Arizona State's something special this year.
Yeah, well, it's good to be on here, man. I'm sorry, but you shouldn't have made me follow Ron Polk. I'm not gonna be able to. That's a tough one.
Yeah, no.
I don't know the way you guys are going. You're definitely the story of college baseball. But I mean, like I said before on the show, Ben and I are former players, so we know what it's like. We know that you guys aren't really worried about rankings. You guys care about what you'll have to do each and every day. But there comes a point where you do know y'all are building something special. What's it been like so far this year with some guys turning some corners and you are starting to get some national recognition? I'm sure it feels good a little bit.
It's just, man, it's great because the only people that knew it was coming was us the whole time. Yeah. It's just nice for it to finally come to fruition and just come together like we knew it would. That was the only nerves I had coming into the season is that we would underperform because I knew how good we were. So to see it all, I mean, could you draw up a better start than 19-0? No. I mean, we are going to lose at some point, but right now we're going to enjoy it, and it's going great.
Yeah, and I guess touching on that, everybody came into the season talking about how good Oregon State was, Stanford was, UCLA, the powerhouses in the Pac-12, and everybody kind of left the Arizona State SunDevils kind of out to dry because you guys did have the youngest lineup, I think, in the whole country last year. A lot of freshmen and sophomores. So it was kind of a question mark, but we followed Arizona State baseball pretty well last year, and we saw guys like Spencer Torkelson and Hunter Bishop just absolutely tattooing baseballs consistently. And I bet that makes your job a lot more fun going to work with those guys every day.
Yeah, it's what's that old saying? Can't make chicken salad out of something, but that's kind of it. It makes my job a little easier for sure. Those guys are, I mean, I think they're the best, but they're mine, so it definitely makes my job a lot easier for sure.
Were you there at Indiana when Sam Travis and Kyle Schwarber and them were playing? Because they kind of remind me of them in a way. Oh, a little older.
I'm a little older than them. I know those guys pretty well because when I was with the White Sox, I was still training on campus with the team and stuff. So I know those guys. They probably remind you of them because Skip and Ben recruit a similar style of player. So they said when Torkelson was coming in, he was like Sam Travis a little bit, and he is, and I think, and Sam's an unbelievable hitter. I think Torque is just, I'm obviously biased. I think Torque's next level to everyone. So yeah, those two are very similar, and I mean, even Schwarber and Bishop draw a little bit of comparison with the swing.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's just a testament to how they recruit.
Well, before we dive into those guys more and kind of what you guys do on a daily basis, the fans are definitely interested in your story, man. I mean, there's a lot of people that spend their whole lives in college baseball to get into positions where you're at, and you're a former player. You're coming in, and you've absolutely turned things around. Obviously, there's a lot of good stuff going on, and it's I know you don't want to take all the credit, but kind of tell the fans a little bit about your story. I know you just got done playing not too long ago yourself.
Yeah, man, I was with the White Sox. After Indiana, I was with the White Sox for 5 seasons. Got up to AAA, spent most of my time in AA. My last season, I played in the Frontier League Independent Ball 2015, and I was just kind of doing some associate scouting for the Mets, and I was like, man, I always wanted to coach with Skip. So, I just shot him a text, and he had me out during the 2016 season for a week at his house. And he thought I was just coming out to visit. I was coming out to try to get a job. So, yeah, man, it just kind of grew legs. And, at that point, I was a father of 2. Now I'm a father of 3. And it was just my wife she's a baseball wife. I was like, hey, we're moving to Arizona. We're in Indiana. We're moving to Arizona. And she's like, sweet, when? So I moved out here, and it just kind of, it happened so fast. And it's such a blessing to be out here. And that's kind of the short of it. I took over the hitting last year, and it's just been, man, it's been great to be here and to see all these guys develop and to build relationships and just to see everything to be a part of something special that you knew is going to happen it's just been unbelievable.
Yeah. And so something I want to talk about is, 15, 20 years ago, you would have never saw a hitting coach as young as you are at a Power 5 school. And I think a lot of that credits to the way baseball is moving towards more analytics. And now you can have like programs such as like Blast Motion and Rhapsodo and stuff like that. Because when dealing with hitters one-on-one in cages, you want to sit down with them and use the TrackMan that you guys have and find out what the right swing plan is for them and what their exit velocity is. And that's something that it kind of favors younger guys like yourself that, have been in the game recently and know how to implement it towards a college kid. So talk a little bit about what you guys use as far as like developing players in a hitting lab on an everyday basis.
So we dabble with a little bit of everything. I like to say I try to be like bilingual in hitting, like try to use a little, something works for everyone, whether it's a new school for this guy, old school for that guy. We early on in the year, we used the Blast Motion with Hunter Bishop, and that helped a lot. TrackMan a ton.
Yeah.
I'm really big on video. I like to see video. I like guys to create their best swing from what they see. So I'm really about all of it, man. Like some guys love using Blast. Some guys, we don't have Rhapsodo hitting indoor. It's different here, man, because we hit outside every day.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's
nice.
the perks of the South. Yep.
So if the ball, if it goes over the fence, it goes over the fence. So we don't need to see how far it goes in the cage. So I mean, yeah. The biggest thing for us this year, the jump, is we have this program, scouting program, and that has been huge too. Just to be able to see analytical numbers matched up with what you see during the game. And I mean, guys believe their coach, but they believe data a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, it's different because, like I touched on, like 10 years ago, you would have to work your way up from like a volunteer to, maybe D2 or D3 school up to hitting coach there to back to a volunteer. And it's kind of like a ladder that you had to climb.
Well, I mean, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I mean, yeah. I don't want to get it twisted. If I didn't play for Coach Smith and he didn't have so much success, I wouldn't have been able to get my start here. So I mean, that's
true.
It's just like anything in life. A lot of it is luck and kind of who you know sometimes. But the thing about Coach Smith is it don't matter how much he likes you, knows you. If you don't do your job,
it's true.
He's gonna let you know. So yeah, I mean, it is a thing. It is a movement with the younger guys, and I think to me it's all about being able to relate to the players and connect with the players, because it's about them, man. The players make the coach, and if they trust you, it's going to make your job a lot easier. So I think that's a big part of, I think, the youth movement in hitting right now, is just being able to connect and relate to the guys.
Coach, if I can jump in, like we are in the era, like Ben touched about it now. I've seen plenty of people get jobs in pro ball from just documenting their work on the internet, and I think that's great. But I think something that gets lost in the translation with this new era is you talk about the players make the coach, and I feel personally that one of the best attributes a coach can have for success is if he can find a way for his players. If the players want to run through a wall for that coach, I think no matter what your methods are, you have a chance to build something special. And it seems like you guys have something like that going on. It's something that doesn't really, I think, get touched on a lot in the analytics, launch angle talk you see on MLB Network or what have you. But where the work gets done, Arizona State, where real work's being done, like there is that factor to it, right? Like the boys have to trust you and you have to love and care about them in order for everything to work. It's not just about who's got the best swing, right?
I think that's what that's everything to me. Like that's everything. If you can't connect with these guys and they can't trust you, because I mean, you guys know hitting's hard, right? So I can't. I got to remember that as a coach, like how hard it was, and I got to remember you're telling them to do something and they're not doing it. They're not trying not to not do it. It's just hard, man. It's the hardest thing to do. So I think you're exactly right. It is absolutely everything to have that trust and connection with your guys, or to me, you got nothing. If you can't do that as a hitting coach, you're not a hitting coach.
Yeah, exactly. And just having your players buy into a program. And we've watched plenty of your games on TV and live streaming and stuff, and I don't know who should take the credit on this, but the team chemistry you guys have this year is unbelievable. Like the amount of emotion these kids play with, and we saw it, I think, on Saturday night when they hit a go-ahead home run. Like everybody was out of the dugout jumping up and down like crazy. Like they're pulling for each other, and that says a lot about not only the players but the coaching staff to allow that stuff to take place. So it's been fun watching you guys play. It really has.
Yeah, it's been a process with all that. I think everyone deserves a little bit of credit, anywhere from the equipment guy to obviously Coach Smith has done a great job building culture to, the last man on the roster. It really has been a grind and a process to get it to where we're at now, and I think that's what makes it so much sweeter.
Yeah, very true. Well, question for you guys: do you guys do a lot of like competition stuff when you're dealing with hitting, or is it more just individually, focus on what you need to do to get better? Because I've seen kind of strategies in both departments where some programs focus on like competition-based stuff, having the kids compete against one another. And then I've seen some that's just like, hey, this is your time. You do what you want to do to get better. This is what you need to do. What kind of stuff do you do in that realm?
I'd say we do a little bit of both. I mean, we have the advantage here of having the weather. So for me, you guys obviously know from your time, you only get a certain amount of time in the day.
Yeah.
So let's just say every day you got 20 minutes to hit with your coach, and it's usually done within the whole team. So what we do is I started last year, guys get out of class, so I'm out there from 1 to 3 o'clock hitting in groups of 3 to 4 every day. So we get all our hitting done before practice.
Mm-hmm.
So that allows me to have 2 or 3, 4 guys at the most at a time to give them that attention. Now that makes my day longer, but I'm not going to complain because it's 75 and sunny. So, but it's good because, and we do it a lot where we hit as a team, but like, I think that helped us turn the corner because you know how hard it is in college to give guys individual time.
Oh yeah.
So that's been big. And then this year we did something different in our scrimmages. We have a smaller roster. So we would have our top 4 hitters. So it'd be like, so it's Haver, Torkelson, Bishop, and let's say Carter Aldretti, right? They would hit for 3 innings and face our top 2 guys.
Mm-hmm.
So for our pitchers, like our Friday guy, he got no break for 3 innings. He get to see 4 of the best guys. Like going into the season, he never faced a 7, 8, or 9 hole hitter. He never got a break. And for our pitchers, they got to see. It was just a great job that Coach Smith came up with, just having our top level guys compete, and it helps too because I like to talk a little trash, so I give it to the pitchers a little bit and kind of get
as you should, yeah.
And they give it back to us. So yeah, it's a little both. Like it's individual attention, but it's high level competition because we don't. If you slack around here, I mean, the coaches have done a good job of letting guys know.
Dude, that's so cool that you guys kind of structured it. Because, obviously Ben and I and you've been through the fall practice, and, I've seen the best player. We had a draft guy on our team at Longwood, and yeah, he would tear it up in the fall as well. But how much better is he getting when he's facing like the freshman arms rolling out from me? I really like that you guys are just kind of maximizing your time and trying to develop everyone the best way possible. And
it was huge. I mean, Coach Smith actually got on me one weekend. He was like, we're striking out too much. This is like the weekend before. He's like, we're striking out too much. We're not going to live and die by the home run. And I'm like, you're right. We're not. But I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, man, they're facing. I mean, I think we got 3 Friday guys on the weekend. I truly do. And I'm like, they're facing them over and over and over again. They know their tendencies. So yeah, I mean, they tore us up one weekend pretty good, which doesn't happen to this lineup very often. So that's been huge for us, the competition in practice, like leading up to the season. And then like either you have freshmen who just aren't ready yet, and that's just their development piece. And you don't want Spencer Torkelson taking at bats off those guys. You just don't. You want him taking it off Alec Marsh. So it's been huge for us this year. I really think that.
No, that's cool.
That's really good. No, I was just going to say, we've talked about Spencer Torkelson a lot. Were you expecting the season that he had last season? Like, because he was a freshman, so obviously he was a high recruit, but you can never, in my opinion, expect a freshman to step in like that and perform the way he did. I think he had 25 home runs. Is that right?
25, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's unbelievable.
No, I mean, I'd be lying to you if I thought 25. I truly thought before the year. So when he came in, he had a hand injury, so we got him in a late. And I just remember the first day, I was like, wow, like I thought for sure double digits. And I think that's going out on a limb for a freshman, especially with how big our park was last year. 25, no. And what I didn't expect out of him, and I've said this many times, is how smart he is as a hitter. It's being able to work with that kid every day, man, he makes me better. So he is so intelligent in the box, how he makes adjustments. His ability to reset is unbelievable. He could go up there, strike out his first 2 times, and come out and hit a 3-run bomb his third at bat because it doesn't affect him. So he did that earlier this year against Michigan State. Guy struck him out in the 8th, tried to sequence him the same in the 10th, and he didn't miss it. Like he's special up here as much as physically. Yeah,
and those intangibles go a long way, especially whenever he makes the jump to pro ball because I mean, you know more than me and James do that.
Yeah.
We've just heard stories, but the pro ball grind of every single day going out there, and you're going to find times when you struggle, and the competition is going to just bury you. And it seems like he's going to make that jump after next season pretty well if he can just reset, stay focused, and the intellectual part of the game goes a long way. So you see those guys starting to really blossom in the game. So
that kid, he's going to have no problems at the next level, and he's going to be doing it a long time. I'm pretty confident in that.
Well, you mentioned him coming in as a freshman, and I'm not exactly sure, what your plans are and all that. And it's none of our business, but you are new and you got right into recruiting at Arizona State, and now you might have to be replacing all 3 of those guys much sooner rather than later. And there's a lot of good.
Hey, not yet.
You got another year.
Right,
year.
No, yeah, you're right. I mean, and we're going to lose this year. We'll lose Hunter Bishop, who's just. I mean, he's our dude right now. Yeah. We're going to lose Carter Aldretti, which is a leader in our locker room, a great hitter. Lyle Lynn, potentially Sam Ferry. But what, Coach Greenspan and Coach Smith have done recruiting, there's more coming. So we got a really good class coming in. There's a freshman outfielder right now named Dusty Garcia is going to be an absolute stud. So with having a great team like this, we haven't thrown him into the fire. So he's going to contribute this year too, and he'll be a big part of the year next year. We got a really good catcher coming in, so I mean we're going to be all right.
To play with.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So kind of going recruiting and development, in my opinion, it's hard to really tell, which is not necessarily more important, but how they feed into each other. Because like you talk about the chicken salad reference, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but I feel like you believe in yourself as a coach, and I'm sure you feel like, give me whatever, and I can get the best out of it. But where do you kind of talk about the difference between recruiting? You're looking at, because we had the owner of Prospect Pipeline on, and I don't know if you're familiar with his work, but he told us that Division I recruiting coaches, they're looking at kids that are 14 or 13, 15 years old, and you're kind of looking at what are they going to be like when they're 20, and that's crazy to me. Like looking 5 years down the road. So how do you pair or like balance that versus when you finally get them on campus when they're 18 years old and developing them and all that? It's difficult. It seems crazy.
It's tough, man. And what we do here that's I think different than most, and it's working for us, is we tend to be a little later than most schools. We have not committed a 14-year-old since I've been here.
That's awesome.
It happens, man. It happens. We wait longer because we want to be right, and we want that to be the right fit. So do we miss out on some guys? Yes. But we don't miss a lot on the guys we get. So we are a little later than most, and we try to do it. We try to do it the right way. And that's the truth. I mean, so we're going to be a little later, but we're going to do it the right way. And I think that's why we've had success. And I think that's a big part of the culture piece too, is just the honesty and recruiting and getting the right people on campus.
Yeah.
And it's tough though. It's tough. And you're right. You do got to predict guys, and you miss on guys, and then you get guys who you don't think are going to be as good as they are. Kind of like no one expected Torque to hit 25. Yeah. So there's a little give and take in both.
Well, I guess this will be the last thing I say on it, just because I like the way you guys do recruiting. I think that's more professional and it's very mature to maybe take, a junior instead of, a kid who just finished his freshman year. I like that a lot. But when I'm looking at some of these players, everyone's got a perfect game profile these days. And you look at someone who's a top recruit when they're 14, you watch their hitting video, and then 2 years later they have another one. They don't even look like the same person, So I just can't. It's really crazy to me to think about these schools with a lot at stake throwing these type of offers to 14 and 13-year-olds and all that. So really cool the way you guys do things. I appreciate you sharing it with us.
Yeah, it's tough. But it's still, even when they're 16, you get them, year or two later, so much can change. You know how it is. Like, your swing can look one way one day, and then you're in a slump, and then you look like a different guy. You're trying to hit left-handed. I don't know, but you're right. It's not easy. And Coach Greenspan is, he's leading the charge with us as a recruiting coordinator, and he's helped me out tremendously, just being able to help identify guys. And he gave me a piece of advice early on. He's like, you're more so, because when you go see a guy, you want him to be good. He's like, He's more so checking guys off the list and checking them on. So it's all about how much you get out there and see guys. And him and Coach Smith have just tremendous job recruiting.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good junior college baseball out there in Arizona, and I believe they all use wood bats. Is that correct?
Yeah,
they do. So how much do you guys go and recruit junior college guys in the area, and like how do you put them on a scale with them using like a wood bat or pitching against a wood bat versus most junior colleges that use the BB core?
Yeah, obviously the wood bat adds a little bit of an element, but I think it's all about trusting your eyes. I mean. So like hitting wise, I guess if the numbers are off the chart, then you don't care if it's wood. We recruit JUCO guys every year. We don't get them in every year. We have a senior pitcher, local kid that we got in last year. He's doing a great job for us. We got a JUCO arm coming in next year. So yeah, we recruit them every year. We don't get them every year. A lot of JUCO guys out here, a lot of the reason they go to junior colleges for the draft. But so yeah, we every year, see JUCO guys all the time, but it's just about finding the right fit and getting them to campus.
Yeah, it seems like you guys have quite the recruiting pitch though, because honesty goes a long ways, and the fact that you can tell a family, look, we recruit a little later, but we don't miss on guys, and like your son is one of those guys that we don't want to miss on. So and honesty and just life in general goes a long way. So it seems like you guys are doing it the right way. You guys have built quite the program over there, and going to compete for a Pac-12 championship for sure. And
better.
Yeah. Hopefully hopefully find a way to host a super regional. I guess that's everybody's goal, and make a way to Omaha. So, but we appreciate having you on, James. Any other questions that you have before we let them go?
I just wanted to touch on one more thing. Ben and I were infielders, so obviously we were hitters, and I'm a young hitting coach, and me personally, I feel like when you're coaching hitters, I feel like the hardest thing for hitters that you're coaching is dealing with success instead of failure. Because to me, if you're going through failure, anyone can get motivated and want to make changes. You guys are 19-0, and you are having guys that are off the charts. How are you able to keep them motivated when they do their early work and to do things that seem monotonous like flips and BP? Because if you take a couple weeks off and you think it's not important, all of a sudden you're in another skid. So I feel like people don't understand that that's a bigger challenge than dealing with failure, is dealing with success. So that's my last question for you is it kind of like the players just have that mentality and you don't need it, or do you have to be on them?
I'm lucky. I'm so lucky to be around some of these guys that it's like success. They want more. And if they're struggling and they want to work. So I don't really have a lot of that, to be honest. And I think that's just because of the last couple of years, what we've created I say we'll have a culture hitting wise that will border on hitting a little too much. So it's just how we do it here, man. It's like let's just say on a game day, like the first game of the year, it's funny. So you have all your stuff laid out for the day, and they were supposed to be in the cage. My times are messed up, but that's irrelevant. But let's say stretch was at 4. I'm pretty sure it was like, okay, cages and machine work at 3:15. They were in there at 2:00.
I love it.
Like they were in there at 2:00, and it just kind of like every day it still says 3:15, but every day I'm in there at 2:00, 2:15, and they hit till about the time they're supposed to. And then we go out and take BP, and then we're back in the cage again pregame about 30 minutes before guys get in swing. So I haven't had to motivate. I have not. It's great. We have some obsessed guys. I like to say they're not motivated. They're obsessed. So it's for me. It's like I'm always going to be there, available for them. And so sorry I can't answer your question.
No, that's it. You did answer it.
I mean, it's just, dude, it's them. It's all about them. They're putting in the work, and we're just there to guide them in the right direction.
That's awesome. No, that's great that you got a great group of guys like that. We really appreciate having you on. Hopefully we can get you back on sometime, maybe not the end of this season, but sometime before next season, talk about the next recruiting classes and stuff like that. But James and I are making a trip out to Omaha. We hope to see you there.
Oh, man, that'd be great. We'll do one of these there.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do a live podcast there. But we appreciate having you on. If you ever need anything from us, just let us know, and we'll be continuing to try to grow this that we have going. We have a lot of momentum, and this is going to help out a lot. So thanks, Coach.
Well, hey, man, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. And you guys are a good follow, and I look forward to seeing what you guys do in the future. But I got to tell you this, if we lose Wednesday, I can never talk to you guys again.
All right. That's a deal.
I'm just kidding. We will lose at some point. I just hope it's not. I mean, we're just thinking about the next one. That's what we do.
Hey, we did highlight the game you guys have Wednesday on ways that they can kind of trap y'all into it. So fair warning, you are ready to go then. So
hey, they're a good team. They are a good team.
Just made the jump. Just made the jump to D1. So they're looking for big players. Yeah.
All right. It's on you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Bye, Coach.
All right. See you.